Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Hog Talk Podcast, live from the Sterling Soap and Roastery Studios, part of the Believe and Buzz Radio Network, where you can hear us on 106.7 in Central Arkansas. All live shows are presented to you by Arkansas Brewing Company in downtown Ozark. I am Porter Hayes, and alongside me, as always, is Adam Hall, and we're also brought to you by Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything online sports betting. Right now, you can receive a 50% free bet up to $250 on your first deposit. Bet on anything to baseball, Formula One. Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino, get on the game of blackjack, poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today, get in on the action, use promo code BLEAV for your 50% bet for credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet Online, the game starts here. Adam, we're wrapping up, getting closer to the end of fall camp, start of season. I know 2 weeks away now from the first game of the season, and I want to be completely honest. I was shocked that reports out of practice today came out that they actually had a bad practice. They actually had 8 interceptions. That's something, especially with how this program's been, we're not used to hearing the downside. And I think somebody was even talking about, not when we had brought it up, that, Bobby Petrino was known for that. He only wanted the offense to shine, and nothing really bad was talked about. So for Sam Pittman to come out and say, look, yeah, we had some interceptions. Yes, some were tipped, some were caused, but I want to pose the question too, starting out, is it always a bad thing that if your defense is shining like that, especially with Landon Jackson leading the charge, is that a bad thing?
No, not at all. Each side of the ball, they're going to have their days, good or bad. And it's good to hear about. I think that we would be naive to think that every press conference needs to be all about the good things, that every practice is great and fantastic. And then, if something were to happen game one or early on, you're sitting there talking about, well, y'all were, as a team standpoint, you had the coaches come out and talk about everything was great, and then there's all these issues on the field come game time. It's one of those things that I don't mind, especially in fall camps, them talking about, hey, we had a bad day. And then it's going to be, how do you bounce back from that in the next practice? And I hope, we hear at the next practice, the next presser, that, hey, it was a complete turnaround from that day. It was an off day. These guys are playing each other day in, day out. They're figuring each other out, whether it's schemes, whether the way they play, who they're throwing to, who their go-tos are. They're figuring each other out. And I think that's something that is bound to happen.
I think the biggest thing is everybody wants honesty. Look, just be honest. If we hear bad things through the press or through the media, and you come out and what everybody coined the phrase is sunshine pumping, that's where it's going to throw people off. Okay, why are you lying to us, or why are you saying that everything's good when we're hearing out of practice that it's A, B, and C? So, guy on the inside was telling, he has seen a different form of Sam Pittman. And as soon as media day started, he's seen a different, he's never seen Pittman as comfortable. And it's crazy going into this year. You would think he would be on edge, but he feels like he's got the staff with Bobby Petrino, T. Will. You got a lot of people coming back. And the point that the guy made to me was, you have a lot of people who bought into this program, 5th year, 6th year seniors. This is going to be kind of the last year that we'll see this. This is it. That never left. You got guys that waited their turn, fought their way up through, never thought about transferring. You got a guy like Landon Jackson who wanted to come back. He wanted to leave this program better than what it was when he got here. And I know that's coach speak, hearsay, but you see how he acted today at practice. You hear about how just as much of a force he had today. And if you're doing it on the practice field, you're going to do it in the games. You're going to have that attitude. And I think he's really shown that he is the leader of this team. I dare you to score on me. But I also think that goes along with what T. Will's preaching. We want them to be greedy. We want to take everything. And if it's our own team, then so be it. I only think that's going to make this team better because it's going to make them, like we said off air, not be complacent, not just go through the motions. They know that when they snap the ball, there's a defense over there ready to take the ball away from them, ready to knock you on your rear end. But the offense, it pushes them to be better. So I'm excited to see how that transition, that both sides pick it up.
Well, and I think we'd rather hear them have a bad practice and hear that there are things to work through, interceptions, whether it's fumbles, whether it's bad blocking, whether it's the defense. You'd rather hear it in a spring or fall camp than during the season. You'd rather hear about it now versus you're prepping for Oklahoma State or Auburn or whoever, and you couldn't get things together. I'd much rather hear it now, 2 weeks out. You got 2 weeks to button things up, and you can take UAPB a couple of different ways. You can be on the mindset of, they'll have some things to work out, or are they just going to come out guns blazing, ready to go? Regardless, I don't want to say that UAPB is the dress rehearsal, but in a sense it is.
It has to be. It has to be. You have to have this game in hand by halftime. Just for the fact that and look, I know it's the game one and you're going to see things, but it's okay to have a here and there offsides or miscommunication, but you got to fix those problems. And even if you've got to come out of halftime and play a third quarter after it's in hand to really work on the communications and the play calling and the switching things up at the line, looking at the sideline, you can really kind of focus at that point. And that's what I was saying after the Oklahoma State game. You've got a game where you can really sit back, button down, win or lose. You can really focus and really, that's how you're going to build a team. That's how this team's going to grow. Yes, there's going to be some growing pains, but this is an SEC team. This is a team that should beat this team by 30, 35 points. You should be able to run on this team no matter what. And yeah, they should come out guns blazing. And look, I hate to say it. And this is no knock on UAPB, but you'd want to beat them by 50 because you want to keep the throttle down until it's point like, okay, let's get our players out. Let's get them some rest because look, you're going to be in those contests where you're going to be tested, especially week 2. You can't not afford to lollygag in this game and then expect the next week to play up here, knowing you have a pivotal opponent in Oklahoma State.
Well, and you bringing up, winning by 30 or whatever. That made me wonder because I thought I saw the point spread, and it's Arkansas's favored by 52.5 at this point. And I'm in that.
You do that.
I'm in the mindset of how many people are going to be upset if they don't win by that, because we know that they're out there. But I think in 2021 when they played, I think Arkansas won 49-3 or something like that. I just look at it, go win by 6 touchdowns and I'll be happy. And it's
who'd be more mad, the Oakland people or the Saracen people? Who'd be mad about the spread?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with the Oakland.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and we joke about that whole aspect. And we'll wrap up first segment on that topic, but it's getting close to game time. I mean, we're at the point where this is not only a very important year for Bobby Petrino, a very important year for Coach Sam Pittman, but this is a very important year for the state of the athletics. Now, honestly, let's just kind of go ahead and dive into it. We're looking at a battle going on between these casinos and this NIL money, and you're wanting to do a 50-50 raffle. Contingent on the fact that this goes well, the program goes well. Because guess what? How are you going to get people to go in on a 50-50 raffle when the team's 4-8, 5-7? And we know good and well how quick the fan base will drop off. If you're rolling, this thing's going to be rolling. You're going to get plenty of money for the NIL. But, is what happens. And this is just something that I just now thought about while we were talking. What if that's kind of a drawback of why Oakland, we don't want to invest this money and then it not work? or if this thing kind of goes south and we're putting this money into this raffle, well, what's a raffle if we're only getting 20, 30,000 a week? I mean, that's when you look at the reality of it, is that their mindset? Saracen's all in, Saracen's all in, ready for this thing to go.
Well, and I think in one of the interviews or articles that were done on this whole thing, I think that they said that if somebody wanted to go out and create this themselves, it would cost around $1 million, whereas Saracen already has it in place. So, at this point, with you bringing that up on the like say Oaklawn being hesitant, if you will, so why not let Saracen take the reins of this? If you're so worried, why put things further behind when it comes to the amount of money that the NIL is generating just because you're waiting and seeing? Let Saracen take the reins of it.
Yeah. And I see that, but when you've been the king for so long, and now that you're starting to kind of see some potential other casinos pop up in Arkansas, you want to try to do whatever you can to not let business go elsewhere. But to me, it's like, look, if this thing's rolling, they're going to go to their respective apps, and it's people aren't going to start going to Oaklawn if this thing really kicks off for Saracen. That's where I'm getting really irritated with the whole thing. Is like, this is a win-win for every single person, even if it takes Oaklawn a minute to catch up and finally get stuff up and running. And if I'm correct, I think Saracen even come out and said they have to pay a certain tax to Oaklawn or some sort. I can't pull the tweet up right now, but Saracen pays Oaklawn for certain things. So it's a win-win, and I don't see, and Bobby Bones has been huge. I know he rubs people the wrong way, and he's really wanting to crack down on getting to the bottom of it. And I hate to be, I see what you're doing, but they just, when he was talking about that video yesterday where he was like, I talked with Oaklawn, and he's like, well, I want to see if we can partner up. That rubbed me the wrong way, because the fact that Saracen has been so on point about wanting to help, wanting to help, wanting to help. And then you go to the people who he has even said that are against it. It's how he worded it, because he had come out and said, man, I really want all of us to work together and find this common ground. But he said the words, I want us to partner up and come together and find a way. That it rubbed me the wrong way, because the fact that it takes away from going to the people who wanted to do this from the start. And I know probably in the conversation really led to the fact that nothing got resolved. We can still be here and there, but and he was being very dismissive when people, myself, I was like, well, what about Bet Saracen? What about the people? And it was very dismissive. Like, well, they called me, I didn't call them. And it's like, look, be open about it, but yet say that you want to help. Even mention their name. Like, I want to help Saracen out. I've talked to Carlton. Carlton's even said, hey, man, we met at a football game one time. I just didn't like how he went about doing it, but I see what he is trying to do, and I applaud that. I just wish he would have worded things differently.
Yeah, and I mean, somebody of his stature and his following, and be the middleman, like we've talked about. Be the guy that brings them both together. It seemed very gung ho the day before on wanting to get to the bottom of this, wants to find out basically who, what, when, or why, who's blocking this, why are they blocking it, and then it's like, okay, you found out, and that was that. Let's figure this out. Let's partner together. Why not figure out why they're wanting to block it rather than just, I mean, he even said himself, he was just basically getting sent links to legislation. And, he's like, I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah.
Read through a few seconds of it. And then I'm like, that was that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get where you're coming from on this, on you're wanting to figure things out, but you're not getting you're getting, like you said, dismissive answers on that part. You're getting, lawyer speak, if you will. And, it's kind of like, so y'all resolved nothing. You were gung ho on finding everything out. who's trying to stop it and the why, and we're still in the same spot that we were. Because let's be frank, the why or the who was already pretty much out there.
Yeah.
So you already knew who. I just don't I don't know if he thought he was going to have a different outcome. If he was going to thought like, okay, I'll call him and we'll get this rolling.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I just feel like the whole be the middleman, don't just choose one side. Or if you know what, if they were, as we've said, dismissive about it and didn't want to agree to anything, then guess what? Reach out to Pet Saracen. Because I guarantee you, Carlton or whoever else would have been right there waiting for your phone call.
Yeah. And also we know where this all goes through. I mean, even if Bobby and Saracen was to come together and okay, this is how we can do it. It's going to take lawmakers to do it. You have too many inside people between U of A, Oaklawn, and state legislation that if they want this to block this thing, they will. They have that power. And I think that's what's got everybody frustrated, including me, is like you're going to them and saying, let's work together, knowing they're the ones that are against it. And they're probably not going to do this unless Bobby can tell them some kind of way to where Oaklawn can make money off it. Because let's be real, if this is a 50-50 raffle and they're like, well, we can't put our name on it, we can't make any money off of it, why would we do this? So there goes backtrack, of course, because you're wanting it all to be about you. You're wanting all the money. You're wanting to find a way for people to still bet on your app. So this takes money away from you on the aspect of you can't do nothing about it, and other people are doing it. I see where that side's coming from on blocking it, but the fact that this state as a whole is seeing this, and guess what? If y'all don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. Whether Saracen goes to another casino or another state or another school, somebody's going to pay the $1 million to figure this out. They're going to change the legislation in their state. And guess what? Arkansas is going to be behind. And again, here comes another what if in the realm of Arkansas sports. What if we could have been the first to do that? What if we could have been the person to do that? And the more public this gets, and the more this goes, because now you got a national person, national media, celebrity on this. Now it's going to start gaining national attention. Other people's going to start catching on to this, and they're going to figure out how to do this, and we're going to be left behind.
And we're naive to think too, if Tennessee or Ole Miss or the state of Mississippi, state of Missouri, they're all sitting around waiting. Because they've already said that other states have approached them on wanting to do this, but they want to do it in Arkansas first. That's only going to go so far. That's only going to last so long. And it's either going to be they go ahead and license it to another state, or another state just figures it out themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in this, they don't want to change the legislation, or Oaklawn wants to do, they're worried about not being at the forefront or whatever. Why not just let it get started? And if you think you can do better, write it out for however long it takes you, and then develop your own.
Yeah.
Put a better product out there if you think you can do this better, and just piggyback off of it in the beginning, let it happen. And then the hard part of the legislation is taken care of, and everything on your end is ready to go when you're ready. But it's one of those that as fans, it's just irritating to sit here and see like NIL has been probably the hottest topic outside of, we'll say, the transfer portal. And we have this within reach. And right now it's all because of a pissing contest between basically, these two casinos on getting this done that's holding it back.
Yeah. And it's just frustrating because, like I said, we've seen what 6 million can do for a basketball program and for the fan base, bringing in Cal and saying you're going to do this, or I'm saying 6 million because that's what was reportedly put out there. This doesn't just help football. This helps everybody. And when you see reports of A&M, Ohio State giving upwards of 20, 25 million a year, and with the CFP going to 12 teams, these super conferences forming. We posed the question a couple years ago, or a couple of weeks ago, of if they form this 32 team LIV style type conference, think about if that's what kept you from making that conference, is the fact that you had this chance to raise the money NIL to compete with the big guys. You didn't do it. Someone else does. So let's just say Mississippi State. Let's just throw them out there because, on the bubble. What if they take this idea and they're like, hey, we'll pay you $5 million for the software, whatever. We'll do it Mississippi and we'll do it. And now you're left out of a similar situation when you had to join the SEC conference of you didn't know what was going to happen to the Southwest Conference and all these people that are now bouncing around from conference to conference. This could get you a seat at the big boy table. And all it's going to do is everybody's going to make money off of it. And I hate to bring this kind of point up with it, but it's like the whole marijuana thing. They couldn't find a way to make money off of it, so they kept it illegal until they can find a way to make money off of it. This is the same feel I get. Oakland doesn't know how to make money off this, so they're not going to release it until they can find out how to make money off of this. And then they're going to come in on their horse and be like, okay, we'll let everybody do it.
Well, and I get like you're driving business, to your app. It's like, yes, they're not supposed to be making any money on the 50-50. It's 50 to whoever wins, 50 to the NIL. The casinos aren't supposed to make a dime, but you're driving people to your app. They're going to see your other games. They're going to see what else you offer, and that's going to bring people in that way. So it's one of those that, do you feel less than when it comes to Saracen? Do you feel like that the new kid on the block is kind of taking the shine away from you a little bit? I mean, I just don't get it. Are we, do we have some issues there on their end with, whatever the case may be, little man syndrome?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it, you think of the egos that some imagine running a huge casino and coming to the fact that they come to the table first. And I'm going to share this tweet right quick. This is what it says right here. You get 20% of the Saracen tax revenue for purses, and any new revenue from online gaming, you get the same. So he's pretty much saying you would, even if this went down and they're gaming on other things, and a lot of it is, well, Saracen would they would make money with other bets and outside stuff. Well, if they get new business off of that, guess what? You still going to give 20% to Oakland. I mean, how petty can you be? I mean, and the fact that this guy's been on a warpath trying to get this, and we have not heard one thing publicly from Oakland of why they don't.
Nope.
When we talk about transparency, we talked about at the beginning of the show. We want transparency. We want honesty. Why hasn't anybody said anything? We've heard Wally Hall wrote an article about things, and he got called out on that article. Why hasn't somebody from the Oakland PR people come out and said, no, we're not blocking it. This is what we want to do. Listen, everybody's called out that $500,000 donation saying it went to the foundation. We know it might trickle in some way, somehow to get wherever it's going to go. But the fact that you chose the day after to make that donation tells everybody where you're at, but you won't come out and say why you're not, or come out and say, hey, we're willing to work with Bobby, or hey, we're willing to do this. That seems very odd to me.
Well, I mean, looking at it too, you've got, which I know names really haven't been thrown out there, and I'm not going, but you've got a board member. We'll say, if all this is accurate, that, the law firm he works for represents Oakland. And also, when it comes to like the legislation side of saying he was appointed the governor's whatever.
It's all public information. This is all public information.
And this coming out, and they don't want to do it, and they don't want to that. Like, I'm sorry, I feel like as that involved as this board of trustee member is, separate yourself in whatever capacity. You should not have a say in this matter when it comes to Oakland, Saracen, the legislation, whatever. I think you should have to sit this one out.
Exactly.
For the fact that you have conflicting parties in this all matter.
Look at CFP when they have their deliberations. If they're talking about a said team, that AD's got to get out of the room, or anybody affiliated with that team has to go out of the room, and the other 11 people talk about it. Again, when people are doing their own research, it don't take long to research what we're talking about. So we're not talking out of our head or hearsay. You can go do the research and see exactly but everybody's already put it out there. Everybody knows where it's coming from. And if you don't think let's just take sports out of this. It's revenue coming into the state. Look at the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery. All the kids that go to college and they off the scratch off tickets and all these Powerballs and stuff, that it funds kids' college. This is more revenue coming into the state. So if you don't want it to be about sports or whatever, let's think about let's think about everybody in Arkansas and how much this could really help everybody as a whole, because they're spending money in the state on a state product.
Well, and that's one thing too, looking at like the divisiveness, and it's not, I don't feel like there's any fans that are divided in this, but as a state, we pump up the Arkansas State Lottery. And even if you don't want to look at the Arkansas Lottery, you still have the Mega Millions, you still have all the other ones that you can still do on apps on your phones in this state.
Yep.
And, I get it. There's a fine line between DraftKings, between BetOnline, between Saracen, between Oaklawn. I get that. But it's one of those things that since they are homegrown, Oaklawn, Saracen, they are here, I feel like that the state government, who is essentially at the root of holding everything up, you could look at it and be like, we can oversee it. We can see what you're doing. You have to report to us anyway.
Yep.
We'll find out if you're trying to do something illegal. So why are we causing an issue? I get that not all legislatures or politicians are sports fans. Totally get that. But like you said, take the sports out of it.
No.
This is just bettering the university. It's bettering Fayetteville. You bring in a better sports program, you're going to bring in more students. People are going to want to go there more.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure more is to come. I know we'll discuss more on this next Monday when we come, or on Monday when we come on the show, but we're going to take a quick commercial break. After the break, we're going to bring on Liliana Hanke from Vulcan Sporting Goods, the fastest growing. You talk about pickleball. Everybody talks about it, playing it. It's taking over the nation. And listen, one of the biggest producers, pickleball, right here in the state of Arkansas. We're talking about in-state products. We're going to have Vulcan. They're based in the heart of Hot Springs. We'll have her on right after the break. Looking to enhance your home's curb appeal? Look no further than Vision Exteriors. As your trusted roofing, siding, and exterior experts, we're here to transform your property. Our skilled team ensures your job is not only functional, but also aesthetically pleasing. Along with roofing, we also offer window, gutter, and siding installation to boost your home's appearance with our quality options. Visit us at www.visionexteriors.com or call us at 479-397-4770. Let's make your vision a reality. Discover Wellness at Baptist Health. As Arkansas's largest and most comprehensive not-for-profit healthcare organization, we're here for you every step of your journey. Whether you need heart health services, orthopedics, or simply want to live well, Baptist Health has you covered. Visit us at 1001 Towson Avenue in Fort Smith, or at one of our 250 points of contact all over the great state of Arkansas. From urgent care centers, senior living, to our primary and specialty care clinics, Baptist Health, for you, for life. Are you looking for your dream home in the heart of the Ozarks? Look no further than Hillbilly Realty. Located at 401 West Commercial Street in Ozark, Arkansas, our experienced team of professionals is dedicated to help you in finding the perfect property. Whether you're buying or selling, we're here for you with a commitment to excellence, customer service, and local expertise. We make the real estate process seamless. Call Bill Brockett today and team at 479-667-4135 to start your journey with Hillbilly Realty, where every property feels like home. Welcome to Vulcan Sporting Goods, your premium pickleball supply company right here in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Explore our premium pickleball equipment featuring pro indoor gear and accessories. Whether you're a seasoned athlete or just starting, Vulcan has something for you. In pickleball gear, you can discover a collision of style, athleticism, and technology with our durable products. Excellence meets innovation at Vulcan Sporting Goods. Visit our website at www.vulcansportinggoods.com to explore our collections and stay updated on the latest highlights by following Vulcan Pickleball on social media. And welcome back to the Hog Talk podcast. And speaking of Vulcan Sporting Goods, I hope I didn't butcher your last name, Liliana Hanke. Did I say that right? All right.
Yes, Hanky, yeah.
Forgive my southern draw sometimes when we're talking, but I really just started off. Look, pickleball is really just taking over everything. I mean, they're taking over tennis courts, but being based in the state of Arkansas and being the official pickleball of the Pro Pickleball Association, how did this come out? How did the sport just all of a sudden start blowing up? And how cool is it to be a part of it?
So yeah, we have actually been in pickleball since before I guess it blew up. We've been a part of the PPA since I believe it started in 2019. So we were one of the first paddle sponsors, way back when it started. I believe we've been in like our company. So our company, our I guess parent company is Tanner's. So it does a lot of the training gear for Rawlings and Easton. And our CEO, Vince, just really saw like pickleball starting kind of like slowly starting to become a big deal in very few places. But he thought that we should get into that. So I think about 7 years ago, I want to say. He started Vulcan underneath Tanner's, and we also have our back grips Vulcan on the Tanner side, and so he thought that was a cool name, and so yeah, we got into pickleball in that way into the PPA. Like I said, we've been there kind of since 2019 when they first started, and being the official ball of the PPA started this past year. We've really been wanting to come out with a ball. We want it to be like a really good ball, that was a top in the market. A bunch of companies have been coming out with balls for years now. And so if we were going to get into that, we want it to become like a really big, thing and a really big deal. So we kind of just went all in, I guess you could say. If you're gonna do it big. So that's what we wanted to do. And as you guys know, the first generation didn't test as well. There was a lot of production issues that we didn't really see going into it because being the first time ball manufacturer, you don't see those things happening until it's kind of like already there and happened. And so we kind of went ground up again, hired a bunch of resin specialists, went over to the factories, tested until it was like there, sure. And then here we are. So the generation 2 is out, and we've only heard good things for the most part. It's not going to be perfect, but yeah, we're really excited. I also want to apologize for the light. I'm in my office
You're
and
right.
it's sundown. So
Yeah, I know I have a couple of flat because how the sun comes in here, it's the same way. But yeah, I got my balls in, and of course our little care package from Vulcan. I don't know. I really started playing when we come down to Hot Springs. My brother-in-law had a water convention, and we just happened to go see the outdoor court. We didn't know nothing about Vulcan. We just went into the shop, and look, I have to say the people were very nice. Like they're like, "Hey, look, you can try these paddles. Go down there and play." I've never felt like more welcome about being at the headquarters. This wasn't like a
yeah, that's
retail shop
great.
selling things. And then when I reached out to y'all about, hey, look, we want to start playing in tournaments, and just the fact that I'm not very good, just starting out, but that's one of your mission statements from whether you're just beginning or you're a pro. So it's been
Yeah,
nothing. Yeah, the
exactly.
new balls are amazing. I did make the mistake to try to take them to the indoor. Where I play indoor on days, and they were like, "No, those are outdoor balls." So I apologize to them, but it's been fun.
Well, I mean, in the future, we'll see if there's some indoor balls on the way, but For now, just the outdoor ball. We want everyone,
Okay.
to love the outdoor ball. And like I said, we've only heard good things, which is really exciting because, it's tough to go from, that generation one where things didn't work out as we wanted to. And like, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. We always want it to be the best it can be, and so we did put a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of effort into making the best ball. And like I said, when it comes down to like factory issues and production issues that we just didn't forecast, happening, which like unfortunately sometimes it does. And so, but making sure that it was right and making sure that it was like the best it can be, was really important to us. And so if, that meant starting from the very, very ground up and, changing the resin formula and like being at the best it can. So we did that and we're excited about it. And we're always like, wanting to improve and we're always wanting to, hear feedback and all kinds of stuff. So, but it's really exciting that the feedback is good this time.
So I think like a lot of folks, it came out of nowhere, but apparently it's been around
Yeah.
for quite a long time. So, whether it's pickleball courts showing up in our towns, randomly being built, where does the sport see themselves, like, say, in the next 5+ years?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's always good and bad, right? Some people are going to hate that pickleball is taken over, especially the tennis courts and the people who did play tennis. But it's about demand, right? I mean, I think pickleball is such a great sport because anyone can play, and not to saying that it discredits the difficulty of the sport at all, because it is still a difficult sport if you're playing at a high level. Now, it's so much fun and it's blown up so much is because, especially during COVID, that's when it kind of like really blew up
Mm.
because it's a sport that you could play at a distance and you could get outside and like still be around people and still feel that community, but it was enough, to where it was still like safe and acceptable and all of those things. And so I think that's where it kind of blew up, and because you can play it at any level and it can be played at like in a fun way. So like if I'm getting out there and I'm playing, like this is the closest thing, tennis for example, it's not always going to be as fun because it's kind of like hard to get like the kind of like twist, and the I guess the little like niche things that tennis
Mhm.
needs to have like a good time and like to have a good rally back and forth, right? But if you're playing with someone at like the similar level as you in pickleball, you can have a good time and you can mess around and you can have fun. And I think that like the scoring takes a minute to accumulate to,
Yeah.
I think, for some people. Especially when I started out, I was like, huh? But I think that overall, it's just a really enjoyable sport that you can get out and have fun truly at any level. I mean, our courts are full all the time. Unfortunately, since it's been so hot here, I haven't been able
Yeah.
to play as much because I mean, I love it too. Like I started, really started when I got this job back in March of last year. So not this past March, but the one before that. And I probably started really playing in May. And oh my gosh, I was just like obsessed then on. So I've been playing for a little over a year now. And it's just, yeah, it's so fun because I can play with my friends who, are at a lower level than me that are starting out. And I'm like teaching them and I'm, bringing them to the sport. And that's still fun. Or I can play at like a really high level and still have a good time because I'm improving my skills and like I'm having a good time and it's a challenge either way. And I think that's the same for any level. You can play it with any level, and even though you're not the same, it's still a good time because you're still out there having fun and you're exercising and breaking a sweat. And I saw an article the other day that singles pickleball is the best racquetball cardio, like racket sport cardio that you can do, which is crazy.
Look, doubles is, and
Oh
this
yeah.
I had my watch on, and I just was out of curiosity. On a Tuesday night, how many steps do I get? And we
Yeah.
played 3 hours doubles and
Yeah.
had 16,000 steps just alone. But
Yeah.
the biggest thing that you talk about all ages, all levels, I think a lot of that has to do with the equipment and the court size.
Mhm.
You're not hitting it and chasing ball over a tennis court. You don't
Exactly.
barely hit it and it goes over the net,
Yeah.
or over the fence. It's one of the things we can take our kids down to the local park and play it. And the with
Yeah.
hitting it and just following and teaching them how to play. But the biggest thing, look, everybody can go to Walmart if you don't want to get the higher paddles that run
Mhm.
$200. You can
Yeah.
go to Walmart and they have a 2-pack and it's $20, and
Yeah,
you have
exactly.
just as good time. And that's the thing with Vulcan. You have the beginners paddles all the way up to the pro paddles,
Yeah.
everybody can play and have a good time.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's what, like you said before, that was really important to our brand is like, we want you to grow with our brand, right? So we want you to, like, at the very beginning when you're just getting into it and just like learning a few things. And we have paddles at Walmart and we have like beginner paddles in our website. And it's very like, simple to get into it. But also once you get better, once you get more advanced, we want you to grow with us. We want you to advance in our company. That's why I think that, to answer your question earlier, where do we see like pickleball? I'm not an expert, so I don't know for sure. But I mean, from the growth that it's like seen already, I definitely see it, getting even more popular. I think that a lot of people, because some people I talk about, they're like pickleball, they're like, but once you play like one time, you're addicted. You really are. And so that's what I've seen to everyone. My friends play now, like I said, they're not like super high level, but we still go out there and we have a good time. Now, like say, is it going to be in the Olympics? I hope so. I think as a spectator, so this is where it kind of gets a little bit tricky. I've heard some people don't necessarily like watching it on TV, and I totally understand that because it is, um, a hard sport to get into
Mhm.
if you're not like super invested in it, right? I feel that same way with about some sports, that my boyfriend watches or that my family watches. I'm like, I just like can't get into it. But when you're there live with any sport, I feel like it's a completely different story, right? So I have the lucky, I get lucky way of I'm at a lot of these live events because I work at the tournaments and I work with our pros, and so I see that, and so I do want to watch it on TV because I do want to support people, and so I think maybe like getting into like or like following a certain pro, or something like that. If you want to start watching it on TV, I think will really help, and also just like I think what's so fun about watching pickleball compared to like say another racket sport is it's so fun. It's lively. The crowd is going wild. People are, like chirping at each other. They're like trash
Yeah.
talking some, but it's like it's all in good fun because they're all friends. Like they're all friends for the most part. But and so it's just like fun to watch. It's like so exciting and like you can tell they're really passionate about it. Like growing and getting better and I think that's what's so much fun about watching pickleball is it's so lively and it's like so like joyful and even with MLP, because we're now the official ball of MLP, those events are so much fun. Oh my gosh. Especially team-based sports. I love team-based sports. I am I'm a big singles person, but I do love like the team aspect.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what's also so fun about MLP is because you see partnerships that you haven't really seen before if you do watch pickleball, but even if you're like beginning, like kind of like inching your way into watching it live, I think that MLP would be a great way to go because it gets you to see a lot of different players kind of all at once. And it's a very like lively, energetic, loud, fun, engaging, place to watch it. And so I think that would be really fun. Now, if it's going to be in the Olympics, I hope so. I think it's a really like just entertaining and fun sport, like I said, and it is like it gets you going. It's hard, like especially when you get up to like the very like pro, like the top, like to get some of the shots down and to like know exactly where you're going to hit it because it is. I mean, it's easy and hard because it's a small court, right? So it's like, oh, you're like, oh, it's a small
Mhm.
court, but at the same time, it's a small court. So you really have very few places to hit it, right? To like make your opponent really work for it. So I think it'd be great. I mean, I know there's rumors about it. I'm not really sure, how, that's gonna become, get in place, but I hope so, just because I'm biased. So.
Yeah, there you go. You be on
So
the team.
we've seen in different
Hopefully.
sports as things grow, typically you start bringing in different types of crowds, different types of
Mhm.
players. If this grows like it does, and I'm not saying the pickleball will have somebody this eccentric, but somebody like John McEnroe of tennis comes
Uh-huh.
through,
Yeah.
loud, obnoxious. Is the pickleball world ready for
Mhm.
that, or is it going to be no? You're going to tone it down a bit.
Oh my gosh, no, we already have like so like you don't see it now because like I said, it is like it's still growing and people watching, but we do have people like that for sure. And that's what I think makes the sport so exciting. Now, if you're rooting for the person playing against them, is it kind of annoying? Yes, but I've
Yeah.
also been told I'm pretty loud and annoying when I'm cheering for, our pros like Jay and Tyler because I am very passionate and I'm competitive at heart. So, I really want them to win. And so, watching these other players who are loud and who are like eccentric and like passionate and they're screaming, I think that it's like kind of iffy. Like some are on the side of like, no, like, let's not be like that. But at the same time, it's pickleball, it's not
Mm.
tennis. Like I think that's what's so great is because you want like the passion and the excitement and like the cheering and like the loudness and the crowd, pumping up the crowd and because you don't see that a lot with like I guess singular sports, if that makes sense. It's like you want someone who like is passionate, you see that in like basketball and soccer where it's like but you don't really see it up close, it's like oh they're definitely trash talking right now, but it's like you don't really like see that dynamic as much where you see it on like a court where it's still loud and it's exciting and they're passionate and they're yelling, but at the end of the day they both know that like they're just trying to advance and like for the most part everyone's friends, and so they just like kind of want to put on a show sometimes, and we do have people that do just want to put on a show sometimes.
I think the biggest misconception, if you hear it in every message board, chat room, Facebook session, everybody's like, "Oh, pickleball's this. It's not real tennis." Look, I've challenged everybody, go play it.
Yeah.
Because look, I thought I'm guilty. I thought that me and my brother-in-law we could just go to this tournament in Lowell and play in it. Never
Yeah.
played before, and we're going to win our division. We didn't win a game, first of all. But even before we started playing, there was these two ladies. They were 5-0, 5-0s at the top,
Mhm.
and we practiced against them.
Yeah.
Smoked us. These are ladies, respectively, hope I don't make them mad, but 50s, you
Yeah.
know, and
I've
they
had my butt whipped by
smoked
quite a
us.
few.
And
Yeah.
that one, we talked about the ages and stuff like that, but another thing I want to bring up is the fact that you watch these mixed doubles matches, and look, there is really no disparity because the court's smaller, but there's really no disparity when it comes to the difference between men and women when they play these sports. Because I've
Yeah.
seen some of these top women smoke these guys when
Oh,
it
yeah.
comes to playing, but you can hit the ball really, really hard. And again, it's not the big tennis court where you got plenty of time to run or you're having to go chase this ball down. So it really makes it
Yeah.
and you can almost put a 5-0 female player against a 5-0 male player, and it is an even match.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. I think that's what yeah, like you said, I think that's also so great about it is because men and women are at a very even level, for the not like super, super even, but like for the most part, yeah, you put like a 5-0 woman and a 5-0 man, like or man, it's gonna be like a really difficult match, especially in mixed. Just because, a lot of female players on tour, like Anna Lee, she's crazy good. Like in mixed, she can carry her men's partner,
Mhm.
rather than vice versa. So, um, I think that's what's so exciting too, is because like you're seeing advancements on all levels, right? And you do see that, those firefights like right up at the net, it's fast, it's quick. That's what it is. It's kind of difficult because like it's right there, like the ball's coming back to you in like, zero point 0.2 seconds. Like you have to be ready for anything. And I think that's what's also really exciting about, men and women is because they do like especially guys will try to like target the girl on the other side, but a lot of times they're just
Yeah,
hitting it back.
I've seen it, seen many eclipse. I know we touched on the Olympics, and look, it could very well by in 4 years be in LA in 2028. But I've
Yeah.
noticed that high schools are starting to do this at school ball level,
Yeah.
and to me, I know you probably don't know how it would come about being in Arkansas and all that
Hmm.
stuff. I know the AAA would get involved, but how cool would it be to be able to see it be played on a school level, be credited by the AAA, and it be a real high school sport where they play for state championships? Of course, being in Hot Springs, you have a nice facility and have the arena down there where you could set up a state tournament type setting
Yeah.
for this.
I would be really jealous that we didn't have it when I was in high school. Um, I've thought about that when I've seen, like especially because we work with a lot of high schools as well, especially locally. And so, um, a lot of teams are, even if they're just club teams, a lot of club teams are popping up. So not necessarily fully, I guess, yeah, AAA approved teams, but a lot of club teams are popping up, especially in Arkansas. You know, we work with a lot of high schools outside of Arkansas as well, and so it's really great to see because, like I said, I'm a little jealous. I wish it was in high school, but especially starting out so young with a sport that you can like really get into, and you know, it's you can really work hard for, and then have an easier pathway to the professional level, you know, because with a lot of professional sports, I feel like it's harder to, you know, to get into those because
Mm.
it's been established for so long. With pickleball, you know, I can go and I can play at a pro qualifier if I wanted to. And if I beat everyone, then I could play against these pros, you know, which is a really cool thing to think about, you know, because a lot of sports aren't really like that. And so I think that especially having that to work for, it's like you want to play against these pro players and, you know, you don't have to go through 5, 6, 7, 8 different things. It's like if you really work hard and, you know, you go to the pro qualifiers and you win, then I'm making it sound a lot easier than it is, but just say you do, it's like you can play against these like top pro players, and that's a really cool thing to do. So especially if you're starting at the high school level and like you're really working as a team, and it is approved and you can do state championships, and we do have a lot of state championships here in Hot Springs, which is really exciting at the convention center. And so if that were to ever become a thing, that would be so cool because I mean, and I think it is, you know, high schools especially are just like popping up everywhere with, I mean, I would get multiple requests every day. I wish I could say
That's
yes to
awesome.
everyone, but
Yeah. But
yeah,
it's the fact that it goes back to the cost too. You don't, look, tennis and travel ball and basketball, you
yeah,
don't have to have a private coach and that
yeah,
spends hundreds of dollars a week. You could really hone your skills, go to a club, be part of a league. And again, I mean, that's the biggest thing that I seen with it was we had a kid, he was part of a tennis team and he come out and he was really good. He was 15
hmm,
years old.
yeah,
Well, it doesn't discourage kids that they feel like they gotta buy the $500 bat or the
exactly.
100. You can sit there and progress, but, you're talking about, the state championships and stuff, and I noticed I'm trying to come down there for the state tournament in September 20th, I believe, and just talk
Hmm.
about, look, y'all's location, where y'all are at, like, all these the state tournaments and things y'all have to offer, and again, where y'all can buy all the products that you offer at Vulcan Sporting Goods.
Yeah. No, that would be. I know that we're a really big part of a lot of the tournaments here in Hot Springs. So, like the Spa City tournament that was, you know, at the convention center, and then the one, you know, coming up September. I'm not sure how involved we are. I mean, we're always involved in a little way, you know,
Yeah.
especially with now being the ball, you know, because especially locally, like we thankfully have a really good like local like loyalty, which is really awesome. You know, people want to support Vulcan, which is so great. And especially being friends with the people that I play with. And, you know, that's so great. So, yeah, I know that if people want to come down and come to Vulcan, and like I said, you can always demo paddles and you can always play on our courts. And any of us will answer any questions that we can, you know, even if it's not Vulcan related, if it's pickleball related, to the best of our ability, you know. Sometimes we don't always have all the answers, but to the best of our ability, especially with any of our paddles, if you want to demo, try them out, anything, we are always willing to lend a helping hand.
Well, Liliana, again, for you and the company, like being able to build our partnership relationship, it's been nothing but like welcoming from the start when I
Thank you.
walked in to now. So I really want to thank y'all for that, and really hope that this really grows. I do want to see it in state championships and in the Olympics and stuff. But we
Thank
really thank
you.
you for your time for coming on the show today and to get people who know nothing about pickleball involved, but yet for those who probably don't see pickleball talked about much to
Yeah.
spread that just how much fun it is and the awareness of how cool to get involved in and where to go about getting it. So that's another thing people probably don't know where. Now they might have a place to really go try it out and find out how fun this is for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Like you've seen, vulcansportinggoods.com. Also, I said Walmart. If we have paddles in Walmart too. We're gonna have paddles at other major retailers, you know, coming up. The Ball as well. Um, we have really great reviews about it, and also like I love that our partnership is growing too. And like I said, you can play at any level, at any age. Truly, truly, truly. like at any age. We have, our VP has, he started playing, his sons, I think, started playing at 3, and they just go out there and they just
Wow.
hit the ball back and forth. And then I've gotten my butt whooped by like 90-year-olds.
Well,
It
if you
is
do
truly
head
for
to Vulcan
anyone.
Sporting Goods, we got a promo code Hog Talk 20. So use the promo code, get your discount on all your transactions. It's not just a first time basis. Any transaction, use promo code Hog Talk 20 to get your discount on all your products.
Exactly. And thank you for having me
Oh,
again.
you're
This is so
welcome.
nice.
We'll definitely, once this thing blows up and if we're in the Olympics, we'll definitely have you on again.
Perfect. That'll
Uh,
be exciting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's interesting. The fact, like I said, Arkansas, and it is the fastest growing sport in the country, Adam. And I think you need to get involved. I think you need to go out and get a paddle, and I think you need to come down to a court sometime, and because it is a lot of fun. I'm not even playing around. Like I had that egotistical thinking I can just walk onto a court and play this game. Had 2 50-year-old women humble me and my brother-in-law, and then you take a step back, and I was like, well, I've got to get real paddles now. I got to get real equipment. Where better else to go to Vulcan? So I got some real equipment. I feel like I'm decent now. I'm not great, but I'm a little bit more prepared now.
See, I feel like I'm going to go out and embarrass myself, and then whoever I'm playing against, I'm just gonna like, let's take it to the basketball court.
There you go.
But it's one of those. It's obviously it's something that's new. And growing up, I know, especially I think in the mid to late '90s, tennis was huge. It
Mhm.
still is. I get that, but dabbled in that was not good. We used to go down to Creekmore and play, but now that I think of something like pickleball was more prominent because obviously it's been around forever. If it was more prominent, I think you'd have a lot more kids at a younger age getting involved early.
Yeah, and it's blowing up. There's a place to hang out in Fort Smith that does it, so there is places. And look, go on these websites, go find, there's pickleball, there's a Pickleheads app that shows you any court in the state of Arkansas. It's a map that has and I live in a small town like Mulberry, and we have a pickleball court. So download the app. Go, there even shows you where there's courts at. And again, go to vulcansportinggoods.com, get your gear. Again, I bought my kids and our family a set of paddles, and it was like $50. You're not spending a lot of money to do this. The balls are cheap. It's not like you have to go get the name brand pickleball balls. You can get anything. So, but that will do it for this episode of the Hog Talk podcast, brought to you by Bet Online, Believe, Sterling Soap Studios, and we'll catch you on Monday.